Here is Immortal Moments for explanation. Friends, like videos and subscribes to our channel. Swallowed Star 2 Land of Origin Part 23 Planation. So let's start our explanation. Where is Yuan? Luo Feng asked. Chairman Yuan hastily shook his head. I have no contact with him. Shi Kingdom's forces in Huyang City are overt and covert, with you, Chairman Yuan, in charge on the surface and Yuan controlling things from the shadows. Luo Feng looked at him. This is an open secret in Huyang City. Denying it in front of me is pointless. Yes, I serve the Marquis, Chairman Yuan straightforwardly said, but I've been in Huyang City for so long, Divine Monarch Yuan has never even met me. It was only after Shang Qianyang exposed his identity that I learned he is Sang Yuan. He has always been wary of me, and now he has severed all communication. I truly cannot contact him. Then you are of no use to me, Luo Feng shook his head. No, Chairman Yuan wanted to argue, but the primal chaos current instantly infiltrated his godly body, shattering his true god's heart. In the moment of death, Chairman Yuan deeply regretted. He knew that accepting the mission to come to this large city in the enemy Yu Kingdom was dangerous. Yet, for the sake of merit points, for the resources bestowed by the Marquis, he still came. He had always been cautious, even secretly befriending some members of the 5 great families, fearing that he might be killed. The 5 great families indeed accommodated him. After all, killing Chairman Yuan would just mean there would be another in charge of the intelligence. But this time, he ultimately fell. Luo Feng, because of the nearly 10 billion affected creatures, because of his friend Shang Qianyang, was filled with a dense killing intent and easily crushed him to death. Ha! Luo Feng waved his hand and collected his body. Master, what do we do now? Yuan is too cautious and careful, his tracks cannot be found, Morosa said. Both he and Master Luo Feng were confident in their ability to kill Divine Monarch Yuan. The only problem was how to find him. The few leaders of the Shi Kingdom's forces in the city, Yu Qianshu, Yu Qianyi, including the intelligence head Chairman Yuan, all cannot contact him. Luo Feng shook his head. Now we can only hope for good news from the city owner's mansion, otherwise, killing Yuan won't be a matter that can be settled quickly. Inside the city owner's mansion, Lord of Huyang City, Commander Moli Xiao, the white-haired elder, General Yong, and Moli Meng, these 5 were all gathered here. The one who killed Yu Qianshu and Yu Qianyi is actually this Luo He. General Yong exclaimed, even I wouldn't dare say for sure I could kill the Yu Qian siblings, 1 against 2, without using Huyang City's great formation. He is still tracking Yuan's whereabouts, Moli Xiao said, knowing full well Yuan's strength, yet daring to continue the pursuit, shows his confidence. Outside the city, I can do nothing to Yuan. Yet he dares to hunt him down. Is he arrogant, or is his true strength actually above mine? General Yong felt very complicated, as he was also very confident and proud. After all, to walk the path of laws, to cultivate unlimited godly bodies. With the instruction of a godly king, now having mastered primal chaos realm techniques, one could imagine his talent. Looking across the entire eternal true gods of Yu Kingdom, there are hardly any stronger than him. Having killed Yu Qian siblings, probably he is not arrogant, said the white-haired elder. No wonder before, he did not take your city owner's mansion seriously, General Yong laughed. With his true strength, even if all 10 great legions were to come out together, using Huyang City's great formation, they wouldn't threaten him. Lord of Huyang City said, when Ying Kang tried to assassinate him and ended up dying instead, we knew he was not to be messed with. Moli Meng, contact Luo He quickly, General Yong said, it's just a single karmic tracing order, you can't request the presence of such a powerful being. Since he took the initiative, we must seize the opportunity. Make contact, Moli Xiao ordered. They hesitated very little. Luo He had killed Yu Qian siblings, making him completely trustworthy. Good, Moli Meng nodded. Brother Luo He, our city owner's mansion has a karmic tracing order left by Shang Qianyang. It can be used to lock onto Divine Monarch Yuan's location, Moli Meng communicated. Shall I bring it to your cave mansion now? I will come to the city owner's mansion right now. We'll meet outside the mansion gate. Luo Feng, piloting the flying boat and accompanied by Morosa, made a beeline for the city owner's mansion. Outside the city owner's mansion, An unseen domain spread out, and ordinary cultivators could not clearly see the 5 figures standing there: Lord of Huyang City, Moli Xiao, the white-haired elder, General Yong, and Moli Meng, all waiting for Luo Feng's arrival. I have never met this divine monarch Luo He, General Yong said, quite curious about this divine monarch Luo He. Divine monarch Luo He is quite merciful, only when someone provokes him does he become ruthless, Moli Meng commented on the side. Such strength, yet still merciful, a rarity, General Yong approved. Suddenly, a flying boat descended from the night sky with Luo Feng and Morosa, the master and servant, flying out of it. Luo Feng also put away the flying boat. Brother Luo He, this is General Yong, Moli Meng introduced. Luo Feng recognized everyone present except for General Yong, whom he truly had not met before. I hear that Lord Luo He plans to pursue and kill Shui Yun. General Yong smiled and said, "Are you confident?" 70% confident, Luo Feng said. Upon hearing this, General Yong and the others were secretly shocked. Without even a fight, he dared to say he was 70% confident. That was exceedingly bold. Do you need my help? General Yong asked. No need, I'm used to acting alone, Luo Feng responded. Admirable, General Yong looked at Luo Feng with great approval. I truly did not expect such a powerful being like Lord Luo He in Yu Kingdom's territory. I'm sure after this matter is settled, the 5 godly kings will send their subordinates to invite Lord Luo He. Such a powerful being, even if he couldn't become a primal chaos overlord, was still a great general. Do you have the karmic tracing order? Luo Feng asked, unwilling to chat much. This was left to the city owner's mansion by Shong Qianyang, with the hope that the mansion could dispatch enough power to pursue and kill Shui Yun. Commander Moli Xiao said from the side, with the karmic tracing order, we can lock onto Shui Yun's position at any time. If you succeed in killing Shui Yun, that's fine, but if Brother Luo He fails, please return the karmic tracing order, the Lord of Huyang City said as he handed over a peculiar token to Luo Feng. Rest assured, Luo Feng took it. He said 70% confident merely to avoid too much astonishment. If he and Morosa, the two of them working together with the Lai Yuan technique, let Shui Yun escape, that would be the real disgrace. Divine power flowed from Luo Feng into the karmic tracing order, and immediately created a connection that sensed a location incredibly far outside the city. That was where the target was. As expected, he did leave the city. Luo Feng said to the 5 in front of him, Gentlemen, I will now go and pursue Shui Yun. I take my leave first. Please. The Lord of Huyang and the others watched as Luo Feng and Morosa boarded the flying boat and rapidly disappeared into the night sky. What do you think, will Luo He succeed? The Lord of Huyang City inquired. I believe the chances are quite high, General Yong said. Have you noticed? For such a major event as pursuing Shui Yun, Luo He still brings his servant with him. Right, his servant is just a true god of void space, and would only be a burden, so why bring him along? Moli Meng wondered in surprise. General Yong nodded. I've heard that in the land of origin, when some great forces train their elites, they usually assign a protector to ensure their safety. This Lord Luo He and his servant, with their secretive origins and such tremendous strength, could possibly come from some great force. The Lord of Huyang, Commander Moli Xiao, and the others were startled. Of course, this is just my speculation. Whether true or false, you must not reveal it to outsiders and disrupt such a being's journey of cultivation, General Yong advised. We understand, all 4 nodded in agreement. No matter whether right or wrong, the power of Lord Luo He had indeed made them feel wary and tremble. Amidst the night, a flying boat swiftly flew out from the east gate of Huyang City. Luo Feng gazed towards the northeast and, with the help of the karmic tracing order, could remotely lock onto the target's location. Brother Shong, I never thought I'd end up joining hands with you in the end, to pursue and strike down that Shui Yun. Luo Feng looked at the karmic tracing order in his hand, then the flying boat traversed the void, rushing towards the northeast. In the high sky far from Huyang City, divine monarch Shui Yun was leisurely navigating the void. There are always some fools in this world, thought divine monarch Shui Yun, who pity the weak, even to the extent of fighting desperately with me for their sake. Brother Shong, you lack the spiritual will necessary to become a peerless powerhouse. A peerless powerhouse should be cold and ruthless. For the sake of one's own path, even if it means sacrificing tens of billions of creatures, there should be no hesitation. Seize every opportunity. Sacrifice everything that can be sacrificed, even if it's sacrificing one's own loved ones. Only with absolute sincerity towards cultivation can one achieve great accomplishments. In this vast world, with its numerous major powers and countless geniuses, to aspire to become the primal chaos overlord, one must endure what innumerable cultivators cannot, must do what innumerable cultivators cannot do, must have a determination to risk everything. Divine Monarch Shui Yun, facing someone like Shang Qianyang, felt a bit of heartache, but more a sense of looking down. He disdainfully viewed these fools. He was the true elite among the cultivators, possessing an unyielding determination. Yu Qianshu and Yu Qianyi were killed, but I don't know by whom, thought Divine Monarch Shui Yun. As long as it wasn't the primal chaos overlord who took action, there is no threat to me. Now that my strength is revealed, I might as well proceed as if it's been exposed, which, although more dangerous, also allows me to gain more resources. Divine Monarch Shui Yun set off towards Shi Kingdom. Originally, he thought of remaining hidden and low-key to live longer. Divine Monarch Shui Yun knew well that to become the primal chaos overlord, the first rule was to survive long. Resources were only secondary. But now at the climax of crisis, with his reputation known, he could no longer lie low, he had to strive for more resources. He traveled through the void, moving swiftly. In the night sky, Luo Feng utilized the mechanical flow secret treasure, Myriad Realms Escape Command, to instantly navigate the void on his flying boat, covering an incredibly long distance. The Myriad Realms Escape Command had reached the level of the primal chaos realm in terms of space traversal. That is, within Huyang City, due to the suppression of spacetime by the city's formation, the Myriad Realms Escape Command could only teleport short distances. But the situation was different outside the city. Outside the city, one could freely navigate the void. The assistance of the Myriad Realms Escape Command sped up the journey even more. Who? This Shui Yun keeps fleeing towards the direction of Shi Kingdom, he's really fast. Fortunately, with the Myriad Realms Escape Command, we can still catch up, said Luo Feng. Is he planning to flee back to Shi Kingdom? Morosa couldn't help but speak. This Shui Yun is really cautious, escaping right after his strength is exposed. He's the craftiest opponent we've encountered on the land of origin. His godly body is not that strong, but his strength is comparable to General Yong. This shows that his realm surpasses General Yong's, Luo Feng solemnly said. Such a high-level being, with unpredictable methods, we must not be the slightest bit careless. How do we deal with him? Asked Morosa. At that time, you disguise yourself as a strand of primal chaos current and blend into my primal chaos domain, said Luo Feng, a perfect life form's disguise, flawless. He will not detect it. Don't rush to make a move. Wait until I've driven him into a desperate situation, at the most critical moment, then you deliver the fatal blow, Luo Feng said. Okay, Morosa nodded. The more intense Luo Feng's murderous intent became, the calmer he was. Luo Feng was clear that, given Divine Monarch Shui Yun's extreme caution and the great efforts he made for self-preservation, it was never too much to plan carefully. Shui Yun must die? Asterisk. Divine Monarch Shui Yun kept on his journey. My identity has been exposed. I left too many traces in Huyang City, and if they are willing to pay the price, they can use these many traces to deduce the secrets of heaven and determine my location. But I am constantly moving. By the time they come after me, I will have already reached another place. They will have to deduce the secrets of heaven over and over again, a cost they can't afford, Divine Monarch Shui Yun thought. Suddenly his expression slightly changed as he looked ahead. In front of him in the void, a figure appeared, a figure with 6 pairs of golden wings. Primal chaos current instantly enveloped a vast area around him. Without the suppression by the Huyang City formation, the primal chaos domain could expand much farther. Amid the primal chaos current, Luo Feng stepped forward, looking coldly at Divine Monarch Shui Yun. Shui Yun, you cannot escape. Luo he. Seeing Luo Feng, Divine Monarch Shui Yun fully understood. It seems it was you who killed Yu Qianshu and Yu Qianyi. the various forces of Huyang City underestimated you before. How did you track me down? To catch up this fast, it must be through cause and effect. Marquis won't betray me, is it Shang Qianyang? He has been with me for too long, and his artifact refining skills have far exceeded my expectations. I must have stumbled in this aspect, Divine Monarch Shuiyun speculated. Luo Feng looked at him and said, "You killed Brother Shang without a second thought." Even I was deceived. I thought you and Brother Shang were very close before. In more than 2 decades, Luo Feng had seen Sang Shuiyun more than once. But he never saw through his real face. "Anyone who obstructs my path to cultivation shall die," said Divine Monarch Shuiyun calmly. "The so-called feelings cannot affect me." Luo He. I couldn't fight with all my strength in Huyang City. But now, I can truly have a battle with you. I just hope you are strong enough to put enough pressure on me to temper my path, and to help me achieve the primal chaos realm. Divine Monarch Shuiyun stared at Luo Feng. "Don't be too weak, it would be meaningless then." "Big talk, let's hope you're still this confident later." Luo Feng waved his hand, and a torrent of blood waves surged out, affecting all around and also enveloping Divine Monarch Shuiyun. Utilizing a mechanical flow treasure. Divine Monarch Shuiyun stood there, shaking his head slightly, truly crude and clumsy. As soon as he finished speaking, boom tilde 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 tilde. Divine Monarch Shuiyun instantaneously dispersed like cloud mist, transforming into massive surging blood waves, which spread in all directions and naturally formed a profound and immense array. The array managed to repel Luo Feng's life-blood river, and even the Primal Chaos Domain struggled to suppress it. Primal Chaos Domain and life-blood river couldn't surpass this great formation. All the Primal Chaos Realm moves that I have come to understand till now are integrated into the Blood Cloud Great Array. Within the surging blood wave, a figure of Divine Monarch Shuiyun formed, stepping across the waves. The blood wave was vast, and the formation was operating, affecting the surroundings. Various Primal Chaos Realm moves are integrated into the formation. Luo Feng was secretly shocked. No wonder there was a clear gap in godly bodies, yet he matched General Yong. Luo Feng withdrew the life-blood river, but the Primal Chaos Domain still spread out, offering suppression and many other wondrous uses besides. Luo He, let me see your strength. The moment Blood Cloud Great Array enveloped Luo Feng, he realized the terrifying aspect of the blood wave, indeed far surpassing his life-blood river. In terms of power, it was just slightly stronger. But from afar, it looked like water waves, yet up close, it felt like mist. When it contacted his 10 directions infinite blade force on his body's surface, he felt a dark chill, and even more, toxins penetrated the blade force, seeping into his godly body. These toxins of law was also a Primal Chaos Realm level move. Weak godly bodies would die upon contact. Luo Feng instantly utilized the body refining method of Duan Mie, burning divine power, and his godly body's power surged, naturally blocking the corrosive penetration of this blood mist. You have unlimited godly bodies? Divine Monarch Shuiyun stood amid the rolling blood waves, somewhat surprised, but he didn't care, as it was normal for those who dared to hunt him to possess unlimited godly bodies. This blood cloud great array of yours, its power is average. Luo Feng produced a blood shadow knife in his hand, immediately slashing down with it. A terrifyingly brilliant blade light appeared. Where the blade light passed, even black spatial cracks formed. The immense force tore the blood cloud great array wide open, and many blood waves were directly annihilated. This move also shocked Divine Monarch Shuiyun. A single slash cleaved through space. The Primal Chaos Realm moves, you've realized, do they prioritize power? Coupled with the advantage of unlimited godly bodies, you can actually cleave space with one stroke. You are indeed stronger than Yong Hu. Very good. Divine Monarch Shuiyun became more excited. The entirety of the blood cloud great array that was split open instantly closed up, and this time, within the blood cloud great array, 3 blood swords containing countless secret patterns were naturally nurtured. Each sword's might was quite terrifying. Luo Feng instantly struck with his blade. 3 blade shadows flashed, cutting through the heavy blood waves, sweeping past those 3 blood swords. Within the rolling blood waves, the 3 blood swords vanished like phantoms, reappearing in the rolling blood waves behind Luo Feng. Boom, boom, Boom. At an extremely close distance, the three blood swords truly stabbed into Luo Feng's back, puncturing the 10 directions infinite blade force, and on Luo Feng's back they forcefully stabbed 3 wounds, barely breaking the skin. The skin wounds healed instantly, though. This scene left the originally confident divine monarch Xueyun somewhat stunned. His blade technique is extremely powerful. How can his godly body's defense also be so strong? Unlimited godly body, to withstand my blood cloud great array attacks, and only scratch the skin. Divine monarch Xueyun wasn't inexperienced with fighting unlimited godly bodies. General Yong was an unlimited godly body, and Yu Qianshu's godly body was also on par with unlimited godly bodies. None were so unshakable. Luo Feng stood there. His blood cloud great array attack had merely scratched his skin. How could he fight? He must have cultivated an emperor-level body refining method, and his protective blade technique must also be at the primal chaos realm level. That's why he is so unshakable. Divine monarch Xueyun felt the pressure too. Luo Feng also felt discomfort. This blood cloud great array was mysteriously unpredictable. His blade technique tore and destroyed, merely annihilating a few blood waves. Roar tilde tilde tilde. Suddenly, Luo Feng shook his body, and his godly body abruptly enlarged 1 billion times. This? Divine monarch Xueyun was astounded. Looking at an incredibly majestic giant divine spirit standing between heaven and earth, he was trillion kilometers tall, the surrounding mountains barely reached his toes, and even Huyang City in front of him would seem petite. Unlimited godly body can expand or contract. The larger the body, the greater the world compression it needs to withstand. To be able to expand to such a size, to what extent has his unlimited godly body's refining reached? Divine monarch Xueyun was alarmed. Luo Feng looked down. Trillion kilometers was not his limit. He could grow even larger, but it was enough. From Luo Feng's perspective at this moment, the majestic blood cloud great array seemed like a small puddle, even smaller than his foot. After all, divine monarch Xueyun's godly body was only so large, thereby limiting the range of the blood cloud great array he could maintain. Boom! According to the body refining method, Duan Mie, Luo Feng's divine power suddenly burned to its limit, maintaining such a vast godly body already rapidly depleted divine power, and burning to the limit. He was consuming about 1/10,000th of his divine power reserve every breath, naturally increasing his strength multiple times. This was his most frantic state. Die? Luo Feng stomped his foot. Heaven split in 5 directions. His 5 toes were like 5 pillars, and his soul like an infinite world, slamming forcefully downward towards that small puddle. How so terrifying! Blood Cloud looked up at this scene, terrified, and the entire blood cloud great array instantly merged into the ground, escaping deep into the earth. Escaping into the ground was also his specialty. Roar tilde tilde tilde. One stomp. Even in the robust land of origin, this stomp forcefully created 100 trillion kilometers deep imprint. It just went past his ankle. Boom tilde tilde tilde. At this moment, divine monarch Xueyun felt as if an immense world was bearing down on him. The soil and rocks from all directions instantly crushed and annihilated, engulfed by an endless destructive force. No differentiation in coverage. The range was too wide. He exerted his utmost to perform the Earth escape technique, but under the envelopment of the primal chaos domain, his escaping speed was slower than usual. Instantly, the entire blood cloud great array had escaped to a depth of tens of billions of kilometers, yet it was still completely enveloped by an unimaginably huge foot. The blood cloud great array instantly dispersed like mist, crushed to a depth of hundreds of billions of kilometers by the gigantic foot. Such fierce stomping utterly annihilated many blood mists. Swoosh! Deep beneath Luo Feng's foot, wisps of blood mist began to condense out of thin air, forming a body of blood mist. He's still alive? The towering Luo Feng looked down from above, his foot having left an imprint billions of kilometers in size, and he was surprised that divine monarch Xueyun was still alive. How is it possible that one stomp destroyed more than 80% of my godly body? Divine monarch Xueyun was frightened, truly terrified. He didn't want to die. He could sacrifice everything just for his own cultivation, but if he himself was gone, what would all the endless years of effort amount to? He cherished his own life. His life was the most precious. Only by living could he reach the true pinnacle. Huff. Divine Monarch Shuiyun reluctantly condensed his godly body and quickly performed the Earth escape technique again. Escaping? Luo Feng instantly shrunk his body to a height of 200 billion kilometers, and then began to traverse the void with the aid of the Myriad Realms escape command, the void escape technique being much stronger than the Earth escape technique, as Earth, water flows, mountains, cities were all part of the void and could all employ the void escape technique. But just as the Earth was thick, even with the aid of the Myriad Realms escape command, the distance traveled was relatively short. Whoosh! Luo Feng instantly moved to a location hundreds of billions of kilometers deep underground. The moment he appeared, he felt himself pushing apart countless soil and rocks. But these thick soils and rocks also brought pressure. This was also why Luo Feng had shrunk his stature. Even with all his strength, his foot had only stomped to a depth of hundreds of billions of kilometers. Having estimated how strong the pressure from the soil and rocks could be, the compression formed by a height of 200 billion kilometers underground had a relatively small impact on his strength. Morosa, be ready to strike at any moment. Luo Feng naturally carried the primal chaos current, constantly teleporting toward the depths of the earth, chasing after the severely injured Divine Monarch Shuiyun. So fast. Divine Monarch Shuiyun noticed Luo Feng chasing after him. Primal chaos domain combined with spatial traversal is indeed very suitable for chasing. But underground, everywhere is filled with extremely thick soil and rocks. Bang! A gigantic hand carrying the power to destroy heaven and earth tore apart countless soils and rocks, as well as the position where Divine Monarch Shuiyun was. Divine Monarch Shuiyun saw a huge hand instantaneously rolling towards him, frightening him so much that his body voluntarily dispersed. At this moment, Luo Feng was 200 billion kilometers tall, but his hands had become enormous, each hand measuring 100 billion kilometers in length. Swinging these hands like giant shields, each strike employed the heaven split in 5 directions blade, and each was a maximal combustion of divine power. Boom! 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 Luo Feng gave chase, relentlessly attacking with his palms, his 5 fingers like 5 blades, leaving black spatial cracks wherever they passed, destroying everything, including Divine Monarch Shuiyun's godly body. No matter how unpredictable his godly body shifted and how adept his escaping skills were, facing Luo Feng's extensive coverage attack, he could only endure the terrifying onslaught repeatedly. This Divine Monarch Shuiyun seems to have some extremely powerful life force. Clearly, he is already much weakened, and my palms have obliterated him into nothingness, yet he can still condense out of the void. As I suspected, he excels in preserving his life, Luo Feng muttered to himself patiently, and as his godly body considerably reduced in size, even the extreme burning of divine power significantly decreased with each expenditure. Now dozens of palms had only used the energy equivalent to 1 foot stomp of his previous massive form. Earth rebirth. Seemingly obliterated into nothingness, yet a trace of blood mist congealed, forming the figure of Divine Monarch Shuiyun. In the earth, I can continuously draw power. But the speed at which he destroys my power surpasses my recovery, Divine Monarch Shuiyun thought, having never imagined being pushed to this point. He used to believe that without the grand array of Huyang City, no eternal true god in the Yu Kingdom could kill him in a true one-on-one fight. Yet, in front of that boundless, towering godly body and those devastating expansive attacks, Divine Monarch Shuiyun felt powerless. So this is what maximizing the size at will and divine power reserve advantages of the unlimited godly bodies can do. It's terrifying. I must find a way out soon, or I might be completely obliterated, Divine Monarch Shuiyun thought, still calm and looking for an opportunity, even at this moment. Luo Feng pursued as Divine Monarch Shuiyun continued to escape deep into the earth. As they went deeper, the oppressive force from the earth grew more terrifying, forcing Luo Feng to reduce his size along with his palms. Now's the time. A dazzling blood light suddenly erupted. In that instant, Divine Monarch Shuiyun frantically burned his divine power, and his originally ephemeral, blood mist body transformed into a dazzling streak of blood light, escaping through the earth at a speed far surpassing any before. During the chase, Luo Feng consistently deployed the heaven split in 5 directions blade, spreading the primal chaos domain everywhere, with endless primal chaos currents flowing throughout the vast area. Take action! Luo Feng, sensing that divine monarch Yuan was desperately burning his remaining divine power, immediately communicated telepathically with Morosa. Morosa's strand of primal chaos current had already been moved by Luo Feng below where divine monarch Yuan was heading deep beneath them. Whoosh! Divine monarch Yuan was indeed diving deeper into the earth, a skill he was adept in, and the deeper under the earth, the greater his chances of survival. Whoosh tilde tilde tilde. Suddenly, an immense gaping maw appeared before him, so vast it seemed like a bottomless, dark abyss. It enveloped with endless terrifying suction power, engulfing the escaping divine monarch Yuan below. Not good. Divine monarch Yuan was jolted by fear, even more startled than when he had seen Luo Feng's towering form. In this extremely deep part of the underground, how could there be such a massive gaping maw? Under the engulfing power, divine monarch Yuan realized he couldn't resist at all. Die? Morosa emerged from the underground with an imposing stature, especially his head which was immensely huge. He actively met the attack with his gaping maw. The prey had already reached his mouth, and his gaping maw suddenly snapped shut. With his mouth closed, divine monarch Yuan only felt surrounded by a dark red world. Death had already enveloped him. No. Death had never been so close, and divine monarch Yuan felt as though he had gone mad. After endless years of lurking and cultivating at all costs to reach this point, he could not accept death. He wanted to live. To survive. Boom! The dazzling bloodlight, already extremely fast in escape, suddenly vanished into thin air from Morosa's mouth, reappearing behind him and continued to burrow deeper into the underground. What? Morosa was baffled. The thing swallowed into his mouth could actually disappear? The escaping streak of bloodlight, divine monarch Yuan, was now in utter ecstasy. Ha ha ha, ha ha ha, I knew it, I knew it. I was lacking enough trials. True battle on the edge of life and death finally allowed me to take the last step. My bloodline has finally transformed. Bloodline transformation, I have now mastered the complete law of primal chaos. Divine monarch Yuan was extremely excited. At that moment, it was with the transformed bloodline talent that he traversed the chaos. Even Morosa's mouth couldn't trap him. I will spare Luo he for now. I need time for my small universe to transform. I need more time for my godly body to transform. Once my strength is completely solidified, I will then kill him. This life and death enmity isn't about bullying the weak. Divine monarch Yuan felt incredibly exhilarated. The path of bloodline cultivation's bloodline transformation was just the beginning of entering the primal chaos realm. Just like the path of laws, after comprehending the law of primal chaos, one also needs the small universe to expand and transform, the divine power to transform, consolidating a more powerful godly body of the primal chaos realm's hierarchy. Even afterward, one needs to cultivate corresponding hierarchy secret techniques. It takes enough time to solidify one's strength. Now, divine monarch Yuan, though still weak in divine power, merely grasping the law of primal chaos allowed him to come up with brilliant tricks effortlessly, unlike the arduous 9 combinations he had previously. Luo he, I still have to thank you for giving me enough pressure. Divine monarch Yuan, escaping, was filled with unprecedented joy. The pursuit of endless years had finally been rewarded. Divine monarch Yuan suddenly saw a pair of eyes. Those were Luo Feng's eyes. At that moment everything else disappeared. Divine monarch Yuan couldn't even sense his own power or bloodline anymore. In his perceptual world, there was only that pair of immensely terrifying eyes. Boom! Those eyes, immensely dense, seemed like endless majestic stars bearing down and instantaneously crushed divine monarch Yuan. The vast disparity left him with no ability to resist. A clash of wills. Luo Feng, who had long reached the peak of primal chaos overlord in willpower, combined with the unique Yuan technique from the land of origin, while divine monarch Yuan's will had only just barely reached primal chaos dominator level. Instant annihilation, not a trace left. The escaping streak of bloodlight naturally transformed back into a true body corpse just lay there deep underground, with the true god's heart seemingly intact, yet without consciousness anymore. To think it really forced me to use the Yuan technique. Luo Feng's godly body returned to normal size, appearing beside the corpse. The origin of the Lai Yuan technique was significant, unique in the land of origin. Although onlookers would hardly recognize it, Luo Feng still preferred not to deploy it lightly. He was still too weak. If some ancient existence could see through some reality, it would lead to great trouble for him. Moreover, always relying on the secret technique of willpower could affect his own cultivation path. To reach a higher life form level through cultivation depends on the laws. That is the foundation. He actually managed to escape from my mouth just now. Morosa also appeared at the side, looking at Sang Shuiyun's corpse and couldn't help but drool. Master, I feel a great attraction to him. Even greater than Yu Jianshu's corpse attracted me. Morosa didn't know that in the last moments, Shuiyun's bloodline had already transformed, which naturally made the corpse unusually significant to him. Don't worry, this corpse will be given to you. Luo Feng extended his hand and pierced through the corpse's chest, removing the true god's heart. But first I need the body to collect the bounty. The body intact, true god's heart intact, would make the Flame Wind Pavilion see the problem. So removing the true god's heart, just in case. After all, catching true god's heart, all forces in Huyang City had already been familiar with it for a long time. Sigh? Taking away the corpse, Luo Feng, together with Morosa, traveled through the void back to the surface. Rumble tilde 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 tilde. Luo Feng disrupted the massive footprint with the primal chaos domain, looking up at the night sky, where stars twinkled brightly. Shuiyun is dead, one of the stars in the sky must have dimmed, but it's unnoticeable. Luo Feng said. Every moment, countless stars twinkle, many of them dim. Unless it's the brightest ones, who would care if an ordinary star dims? Morosa said carelessly, we are still too weak. This attempt at intervention had failed, also making Morosa feel his own weakness. Luo Feng looked at the karmic tracing order in his palm, finally not letting down Brother Shong's efforts, then put it away. Let's go, back to Huyang City. Luo Feng immediately took Morosa aboard the flying boat, traveling through the void, heading straight for Huyang City. This episode is end here.